I've been riding on a daydream.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out RV Daydream, and today I want to talk about my hitch on my truck. Yes, I'm finally getting to the point where I want to try to hook up this camper and see how the truck handles it as far as the ride, going down the road, stuff like that. But first, I have to convert over the weight distribution hitch to fit this new, taller truck. So let me show you what I've got going on, and then we'll go into the addition that I needed to get to make this all work. And I'll show you how that's going to go together and how to figure this out. I apologize for the wind. It's really windy today, so hopefully I can keep you in close so we're not hearing all that noise. As you can imagine, this truck sits higher than the F-150. I've got a photo that I'll show you what it looks like as far as the truck's back to back on level ground. And you can see that the F-150, because I had add-a-leafs on it, did raise up the back end probably more than what it normally would be, because it's at a slight angle, as you can tell, the hitch is. But as far as the hitches go, this truck, even stock, is still definitely taller than the F-150 is. So now I've got an issue, and I'll tell you what that is by pointing out a couple things. Looking at these measurements that are on the instructions that I had to download for this hitch, because the hitch is a little bit older and I bought it used. The measurement that I need to take for my hitch at the top of the ball comes out to 17.5 inches on the trailer, and that's with the trailer level. I did take this up to the high school a long time ago to a nice level part of the parking lot, and I measured it out once it was all leveled, and 17.5 inches is this measurement here. Now the hitch, whenever I hook it up to the truck, should only make the ball about 3/4 to an inch higher than 17.5 inches. Well, I know that's not the case, and I'll show you what I mean. So we're out of the wind, so I can stop apologizing for the wind noise, but now I gotta start apologizing for the lighting, because the topper, or the camper top, or truck cap, whatever you want to call it, is hanging in front of my garage light until I can get that mounted on this truck. So here's my problem. I'm at 21.5 inches in height. Again, this can only be as tall at the top of the ball as 18.5 inches. That's it. That's all the taller this can be. The problem is the shank that comes with this head is a pretty standard shank. Unfortunately, it's for a lot of the newer campers that are much taller, and mine's an older camper and it sits relatively low as far as the hitch height, and the adjustments are all the way at the lowest point. So I had to get a new shank, and that's this part here. That's the part that the head, that's this part here, mounts to. Alright, so you can see the shank here, and it's a cast design. This is a Reese product. You can only use this in a drop position. You can't flip it around and make it go higher. And I'll show you what that looks like as far as the ones that you can do in either direction. But this one is drop only. This can handle quite a bit of weight. It's like 10,000 pounds, which is going to be fine. I don't think I'm going to get even close to that. But it's basically a cast style shank, just like the one that I have on the truck, but it does drop further when the head is mounted to it. So I'll get that height that I need. I'll go ahead and pull the other one out of the receiver on the truck, and we'll show you what the difference is. Alright, so you can see here that I have both hitches basically leveled out against each other, meaning that I made it to where the shanks that go into the receiver are level with each other, going straight across. I had the head in its lowest position, meaning the bottom bolt was here. So you can see that I still have a couple of more adjustments that I can go to make that head even lower to get me to where I need it to be. Now, what I was talking about as far as this being a drop hitch only, this one can be in either direction. If I put the head in the highest position on this one, and it's still not tall enough for maybe a newer camper that we might be getting into at some point in the future, I can flip this one around and be given that much more to adjust that head even higher yet to match the hitch of my potentially newer, taller bumper pole. Okay, so here's the old shank, and it's put in the position that it used to be at. And you can see there's webbing that goes up because this extends, this flat part that's up and down on the shank extends above the horizontal part of the shank where it goes into the receiver. And they make this transition for this extra support up to this point to make it to where it can go either up or down. When you flip it around, you can see there's support here and here, so that'll allow for it to be in either position and work correctly. Now let me show you this new shank and why it doesn't have that and why it can only be used in the down position. You can see they have the same type of up and down flat, but there's nothing above here, and there's no support coming up to the extension that may be. If there was, then this could be turned upside down too, but this is just a downward. That's why all this is here, and it's very heavy, it's very thick, and this support webbing is actually much bigger than the one I just took off the truck. But I need it to go this low so I can pull that camper. Now, I do have a concern that this is so much lower at this point, but I really don't have a choice because the way my camper's set up and how tall this truck is, I have to have this go down far enough so I can put that weight distribution on there and keep it to where the truck isn't lifting the front of the trailer like I had when I initially went up to Put-in-Bay or East Harbor, which I'll show you a little picture of that or a little clip of that. And I mentioned it before in one of my previous videos. I definitely had the trailer doing a little bit of a wheelie, and I don't like doing that because that causes a lot of sway, and it also causes some increased suspension and tire wear on the rear axle, because then the trailer is leaning back on that rear axle more than the front. And that's not really the way that those things are designed to handle weight. That's why there's two axles. So let me go ahead and fix this head on here, find the holes that I need to be at so I can get the correct ball height to start with, and then we'll go ahead and bolt it down, because I believe at that point that my bars, my drop bars, should be about the same. Here it is all hooked up. I went ahead and rechecked my angles for my weight distribution bars, and I didn't have to change the spacers. They were the same in my case. However, whenever you're doing this with your vehicle, you definitely need to make sure that you go by the directions and find out how far those spring bars are supposed to be from the ground and what angle this is supposed to be to the hitch for your vehicle. I'm going to go ahead and take it out there to my trailer and hook it up and see if everything feels pretty good. Alright guys, so I just got back from a test drive, and man, what a difference. Again, sorry about the wind. Holy cow, I can't believe it. Let me show you what the hitch looks like. There you go. It's all done up. This is what it looks like whenever it's hitched up now. And it's not too low. It's not as bad as I thought. Right now the tires are in a low spot in the driveway, so that put the hitch a little bit lower than it was before, but not bad. It did a pretty good job. I couldn't believe how easy it was to get up to 60, 65 and then just maintain it. I mean, it just was nothing to do. I was shocked. I wasn't very happy about how fast the needle moved though on the gas gauge. Whew. It's incredible. I can't believe that that moves whenever you drive any short distance. I can see long distance, but I'm just used to that F-150. I mean, it got really good gas mileage empty, and for the last 8 years I know how fast the needle moves on that. This one moves a lot faster. I will change the transmission fluid and the filter. I might see if it has an inline filter also going to the cooler. If not, I may add one. I don't know yet. I also believe that the spring bars, the tension seems a little bit harder than what it should be. I think that might have to do with the angle that I have it at. I just haven't decided yet, and I might have to do a little bit more configuring on it. Honestly, if I had a choice, I would get new spring bars and get some sort of a anti-sway like the cams that Reese has. I don't have enough money for a Hensley. I mean, that thing's $2,000, and I feel really bad because when we were up at East Harbor, if you don't remember during our little talk, one of the camera views had a motorhome that was in the background, and we had went over and talked to those people and looked at their motorhome, and it was really nice. They're from Indiana, and they go up there every year. They've been doing it for years. Unfortunately, we didn't get their number, and we should have. We just weren't thinking ahead. They have a motor coach now. However, they had a travel trailer for years, and it was a bumper pull. So they had bought one of those Hensley hitches, and they only wanted like $900 for it. They said it was perfect. Man, I should have jumped on that, because that whole weight distribution sway thing that Hensley has is weird to look at, but man, it works. The only thing that I don't think it works under as far as conditions is maybe possibly engine brakes, which a lot of the new diesels have engine brakes now. So that would be an issue for somebody, but I don't have an engine brake on the truck, so I would really like to have one of those. I think that pulling with that would be divine. I hope that you enjoyed this video. We're looking to go camping possibly, again, on the off season. I'd like to do it within a few weeks here, but we don't know. It's just one of those things. And if the fancy strikes us, we want to be able to hitch up and go. So far, I've got a vehicle that can do it without any more work. But there is still more work that I want to do on it. Again, the transmission fluid, I need to do an oil change, and I'd like to replace all the shocks because the shocks are literally rusted. So that's it, guys. As always, I hope to see you out there. Bye.